If you'll turn to Luke 14. We'll look at the cost of being a disciple. This one's always been first and foremost on my mind because I find myself in this situation when Jesus talks about in verse 28, suppose one who wants to build a tower, will he not first sit down and estimate the cost to see if he has enough money to complete it? For if he lays the foundation and is not able to finish it, everyone who sees it will ridicule him, saying, this fellow began to build and was not able to finish. Of course, in building a house right now, you always figure, okay, now I'm going to have X amount of money to get this thing going and try to get this completed. And it's the same in Christianity. When we become a new Christian, we're not looking way down the road. We're looking at right now, and I am going to do everything that I can to please Christ, to live my life for Him. But when the disciples were with Jesus, did they know what was going to happen on down the road? Did Peter know what was going to happen to him? Every one of them died a gruesome death. Except John, I think, wasn't it? I think Peter was crucified upside down. Well, now, if they would have known the cost at the time that they were going to be going with him out there on the boat, leaving the boat and going with him, would they have done it? Would we? Would we do that if we knew the cost, it was going to cost us our life? Would we truly? I mean, when you look at it, you think, well, yeah, but heaven is the goal. But when you first become a Christian, you are excited. But you never know what's around the corner. It's just like right now when I'm building this house, and I didn't know that material prices were going to quadruple. You don't know that when you start. But you continue on. As it says, it talks about building a tower or a house. I put it in my terms. And then it talks about a king going up against another army. He has 10,000. Does he have enough strength in that army to defeat one that's 20,000? And if he doesn't think that he does, he's going to parlay with them and try to make it work. We have no idea what is going to happen in the next 2 months, 2 years, 20 years of what Christianity will be like here in the United States. Did we count the cost when we became a Christian, however long ago that was? That we would give our life, or that we would sacrifice our children's lives at the time that we became a Christian? I think that's where he's telling us in the first verses there in 28, not 28, 26. If anyone comes to me and does not hate his father and mother, his wife and his children, his brothers and sisters, yes, even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. And anyone who does not carry his cross and follow me cannot be my disciple. Now he says we're to hate our father, our mother, our brothers, our sisters. Does that mean we're to despise them? No. He explains that in the following one there. He says, yes, even his own life. Do we hate our own life? We don't. But we're putting Christ first and foremost in our life. That's what he means. We can't put our biological family ahead of Christ. We can't do that. Christ has to be number one. And that's the cost that we count. How much is it going to cost us? Are we willing to put aside everything that we have here? Just as the disciples, they left their job. They left their families a lot of times. That was a big price to pay, wasn't it? Did they regret it? They didn't regret it. Did they enjoy it all the time? Probably not. I mean, that's why it gives us encouragement that we are to count it as joy when we go through troubles and trials and persecution. It tries to encourage us that we should count it as joy because we are putting ourselves behind and putting Christ ahead. And I think that's what he tries to show us in these verses here. In verse 33, after it's talking about the king that has 10,000 men to oppose the one coming against him with 20,000, if he is not able, he will send a delegation while the other is still a long ways off and will ask for terms of peace. In the same way, any one of you who does not give up everything he has cannot be my disciple. Now, does that mean that we're to just sell everything? I mean, give everything. I mean, just say, okay, it's all yours, God, and you're just gonna take care of me. Now, granted, some of the disciples, to me, it looks like they did do that, but is that totally required? That we sell our house, that we become basically destitute? I don't think he's wanting us to do that. I think he's giving us what we have right now to utilize to put him first. If we have a vehicle rather than a mule to ride, is he going to say, sell your truck and get a mule? I want you to spread the gospel by the mule. Well, maybe back when the mules were the commonplace and farms were 2 miles apart, that may have been okay. But he doesn't tell us to do that today, does he? Does he say, get rid of everything and just go on the street corner and preach? Now, there are some religions that do that. But I don't believe that's what he's trying to tell us here. He's trying to tell us, basically, it's in your thought process of putting Christ first in all things. Counting the cost, you don't know what's going to happen down the road. But every day that comes along, you have a choice to make. Am I going to put my friends, my family, my job, you name it, ahead of Christ? Or am I going to put him first? That's a struggle for me. Day to day, when you get up in the morning, who do you put first? What's first on the schedule when you wake up? Is it, oh man, my work, it starts at 8 o'clock. I'm up at 6. I've got 2 hours. What's going to come first? Preparation for work or meditation in God's Word to prepare you for what he has in store for you right now? Because as we go to work, we're being observed by the world. Whether it's Glenn going to an office, whether it's Dan going to town to get parts for a vehicle or something, whether it's me going to shoe a horse. Christ is going to prepare us. If we prepare ourselves, putting him first, he will prepare us to do his work that day in whatever we're doing. We can be retired. We can have a full 40-hour-week job. We can be a housewife. He's going to prepare us for whatever comes along that day if we put him first. Just as he did with the disciples. They were with him all the time. Now, I guess it would be hard to imagine being with someone the whole time and not having doubts. And the disciples did. Some of them did have doubts. Are we really doing... What's in this for us? I mean, we have nothing. We're just laying it all down here. Now what's going to happen? If they would have known that they would have been crucified, beaten, imprisoned, they probably really would have doubted. But yet they kept first and foremost what Christ wanted them to do. To go into all the world. To teach people. To teach them what He was teaching them. And that's all He's asking of us. Is to go into this world teaching people, baptizing them, bringing them to Christ. And as long as we put Him first, which that's, to me, that's counting the cost. Because if we're putting Him first in whatever we do, then we have counted the cost. Because if you're not going to count the cost, you're going to put your friends, your lifestyle, the parties, the good times, your emotions, all of that stuff, you'll put ahead of that. You'll put ahead of that. But if you put Christ first, then He will work with all of those other things and make all things possible. By having Him to, you put Him first in your life. Not literally hating your biological family, but putting them second. Just as we're to put our life second to Christ. Because when we became a Christian, we became a new person. The old has passed away. The new is first and foremost. If there's anyone that has not made the decision to put Christ first in their life, now would be the time to do it. Because we don't have tomorrow. We cannot be guaranteed tomorrow. So if there's anyone that needs to make that decision, do so as we stand and sing 9.